Battle. Good day, everybody. How's everyone today?
Great.
You guys ready for Christmas?
No.
No. Who's feeling Christmassy? Yes, I'm the most Christmas guy you'll ever meet. You know what you should never say as an adult? You should never say, you know what, I don't feel it this year. I don't have that Christmas feeling. You should never say that. You don't feel Christmassy because you keep saying that. Every year, get Christmassy. It's the best time of the year. I even have a Christmas sweater with a Rudolph on it and a big fluffy nose that sticks out and everything. Be a Christmas person. It's an awesome time. There's a date that we want you to work hard until. What date is that?
December 19th.
That's Friday. So 4 more days of really hard work and then back it down for 2 weeks, yes? Is that good, yes or no? The question will be whether or not you set yourself up for an avalanche of success next year. We're going to talk about that first before we jump into our topic of pricing. And the topic on pricing that I'm going to give you today, I don't think it's going to matter that much right now, because right now, if you go on a listing presentation and the right price is $8.99 and they want to try $9.25, that's okay, yes? You're like, whatever. We're probably going to put it on $8.99, get 4 offers to get $9.50 anyways. However, if you look at the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board, which is more than 100 years right now, the super sellers market comes every 20 to 25 years. It lasts about 2.5 years. 2 full years, and then it spills into the next year. Happened in the 20s, happened in the 40s, happened in the 60s, happened 1988, 89, and now 2015 and 16. Which means, if it lasts 2.5 years, it's going to end next year, yes? Yes or no? Yeah. I can guarantee you guys and gals something. 2017 is going to start in a super seller's market due to the lack of inventory, but it's not going to end that way. By the time we get to the end of 2017, we're going to be in a much different market. 2017 is going to be exactly like 1990. Who was licensed in the late 80s, other than me? So Bila would know that 1988 and 89 was a super seller's market, right, Bila? Yeah. Hotter than the last 2 years, much hotter. I bought a property. I got married in 1983. We bought a bungalow, brand new in Ajax for $69,000. That's what it cost in the early 80s. By 1987, it had risen to 72. I was very happy. My gosh, I made $3,000 just by living here. And then in 1988, it went from 72,000 to 200,000, right, Bila? That's almost 3 times. Not the 20% rate we're having increase now. 1988-89 was hotter than the one we're having right now. And then it spilt into 1990. It started out as a super seller's market and ended as a neutral market, which is exactly what's going to happen in 2017. As a matter of fact, if you want to read a really good article on exactly what I've been saying for a while about this market. See, a year and a half ago, people were saying to me the market's going to crash. I said, no, it's not. It can't. This super seller's market lasts 2.5 years. 2 full years, and then it spills into the next year. So it's going to be 2015 and 16, and it'll spill into 2017, and then it will change. There's an article, not the Saturday that just passed, but the previous Saturday in the Toronto Star, if you want to go read a really good article on what I'm talking about right now. It's on the front page of the business section, not Saturday that just passed, the previous one, talking about the new mortgage rules designed to change the market and bring it back to a neutral market and bring inventory up. It's exactly what they do every time to keep this cycle going. That's how 2017 is going to go, which means what I'm going to teach you on pricing today, I don't think is going to matter that much. December, January, February, March, April, something like that. But after that, when the market returns back to normal, which it will, then pricing will matter for 20 years, 25 years. So I have seen 2. Bila has seen 2 of these because we saw the first one when we were young. I was 26 years old. I got a real estate license in 1987. The next year, the super seller's market came back for 2.5 years. And then it went away until 2015, and then it came back 2 full years, 15 and 16, which will be and also half of 2017. And so really our clients, they understand the technique I'm going to teach you today. the skill on how to handle pricing, they've been abandoning it for the last couple of years. So what I'm going to teach you today, right around April, May, when the inventory starts growing, which it will, you're going to have to come back and read these notes again. So take good notes today, because it's going to start mattering again. Honestly, for the next little bit, when you go on a listing and it should be $8.99, they want to try $9.50, you're probably going to say, you know what, $8.99 is the right list price, but it's common right now to get multiple offers and selling in that range, so let's give that a try. That would be the correct information, yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
So it would be a mistake right now to be pushing for the right price and pushing yourself out of the equation. However, once this market switches, which it will next year, then what I'm going to teach you, so for example, who will still be selling in 20 years? No, let me ask it the other way. Who will not be involved in real estate 20 years from now? Okay, well, we're never going to see it again. It's done for us. Once this ends, you will not see this super seller's market for 25 years. At a seminar yesterday, it's interesting how realtors who sell real estate for a living and are entrepreneurial realtors don't seem to understand how their business works. Someone said to me yesterday, are you sure this is just a cycle? Because we have a lot of immigration. Immigration started in this country in the 16th century. It's been going on for 500 years. It's been happening for a while. Is anybody in the room a Canadian Indian? So we're all immigrants, right? That immigration thing's been going on for a while. That's not really what's controlling things. So before we jump into how to price correctly, I want to talk to you about 2017. Oh, by the way, I hope when I'm saying that it's going to start out as a super seller's market and end neutral, I hope we're not considering that bad news. I'm actually giving you good news. The hardest market to make money and sell in real estate is the one we're in right now. This is by far the hardest. The only winner in this market is the seller. The buyers lose and the realtors lose. Although, during this market the last couple of years, still 1 in 4 is still the number. It's just that our clients for the last 2 years, 1 in 4 is still the number. They're just not getting 8 weeks vacation because you have to do buyer sales more than once, yes? So our clients that up till 2 years ago were relying on 1 in 4 leads working out and getting 8 weeks vacation was what we teach. They've only been getting an average of 4 to 5 weeks off this 2 years. As soon as it switches, 1 in 4 is still the number, except you get your life back, yes? So the change I'm suggesting is going to happen is excellent news for you. And 1 in 4 is still the number. So if you want to sell 20 homes next year, how many leads do you need? Just throwing numbers out. What is the right number? 80. And so if I'm wrong, which I'm not, but if I am, and we continue in a super seller's market in 2017, which would be extremely odd. If you want to do 20 deals, you'd need 80 leads. You just wouldn't get 8 weeks vacation. If we start out at a super seller's market, which we will, because does anyone know the inventory on Treb right now? Just FYI, 10,000 is dangerously low. Active listings. Anyone know what the inventory is today? 11,500. Incorrect. But a good guess. 7,300. 7,300. The only reason it's not 10,000, 11,000 is because on October 17th, we had a new mortgage rule, yes? Yeah. And so normally this time of year, we definitely outsell versus list in November, December. In the 110-year history of the board, the inventory has never grown in November, December, not even once. November had 8,800 sales. December will have 5,000 or 6,000. It's like 14,000, 15,000 sales in November, December. But we never list that many. We maybe list 13,000. So we always shrink a bit in November, December. We never outlist the selling side November, December, not even once. But on October 17th, we got a new mortgage rule, and you had to be under contract on that day, yes? Yes? It's morning, right? Yeah. So yes? Yes. Okay. And so about 2,000 people beyond the normal amount got under contract for that day, which shrunk things down. And then we can't grow inventory November, December, because that can't happen. So it's going to be into January, February before that inventory starts coming up. So we have 7,300 listings right now. Probably end next year with 15, 16, 17, 18,000 would be my guess. That is the purpose of what they're doing with the mortgage rules. And there'll be more coming to make sure that what they want to accomplish will accomplish and will exit this super seller's market. And if you're not going to sell 20, 25 years from now, you won't see this again. I've only seen it twice because I got licensed in 1987. That's the way it works. It's been working like that for over 100 years. So next year, if we start out super sellers and neutral, which is likely, 1 in 4 works out. You need 80 leads. Who thinks we might go from super sellers to an all-out buyer's market? Who thinks that? No, I don't either. But if we did, 1 in 4 would work out. And by the way, that did happen in Halifax this year. Halifax went into a super seller's market a year before us, 2014. It was 2014 and 15, a super seller's market, just like here. And they went all the way in 2016 to an all-out buyer's market. In Halifax, it's as much a buyer's market now as it was a seller's market. They did not see that coming. But we have 22 one-on-one coaching clients there. And they say to me all the time, well, 1 in 4 still works out for me. It's awesome for my buyers. The market flipped 100% the other way. I'm not anticipating that here. But it did happen in Halifax, not some history 100 years ago. It happened this year there. And so that's just the way it is. So it doesn't matter what happens in the market next year, although the likely scenario is start out super seller's market because of the lack of inventory, 7,300, which actually will shrink for the next 3 weeks. We might enter 2017 with 6,000 listings because we'll keep selling, but we won't list as many as we sell. And if it ends neutral, 1 in 4 works out. Doesn't matter what happens next year, 1 in 4 works out. So let me ask a question. I want to talk to you about this first before our topic. Who would like to have an avalanche of success next year? This is like an all play. Seriously, no? Okay, fine. Yes, no? It's not that hard, you know. Somebody's like, gosh, Rob, it's like the second time I had to put my hand up already. And so there are some principles, if you adhere to them, you can have that. And as entrepreneurs, we kind of understand and are aware of principles like the law of attraction, you become what you think about, the power of momentum, the power of focus, these principles that we understand. If you know how to play them, you can work them to your advantage. And so an avalanche, the reason I use that term, is because an avalanche is a really interesting natural phenomenon. It starts at the top of the mountain, just some snow moving around, however that happens. It's not dangerous at the top of the mountain. It's just some snow starts moving around and starts moving down the mountain. There's a point, once it passes this point, it cannot be stopped. Nobody's even working on technology to stop an avalanche. It's impossible. They're just working on technology to predict it and help people get out of the way. That's all they're doing. They are saying that before the point of no return, before it's dangerous, maybe we can figure out how to stop it there, if it's possible. We're not sure. So what fuels an avalanche is momentum. That's what fuels, that's the fuel for an avalanche. And so it's possible for realtors to have that type of force in your business. And so we teach it. I've been teaching it to you for about 60 days now. I don't know how many of you have bought in and done it correctly. And so it works like this. In the software that we gave to you that most of you don't use, just for fun the other day, I had some time, I went and checked all your tracking systems, and only 11 of you are actually using it, out of like 130 or something like that. I don't know why that would be the case. You're in coaching, you should be wanting to track what you're up to, which means if you're not using the tracking system, you also aren't in the client corner. There's a form in the client corner which is entitled My Leads for January. It has 20 spots on it. Who in the room has that posted in their office? That would be the 11. Okay, that's fair. And so if you fill up that 20, and that means this happens. So if you enter 2017, or any year for that matter, in this case 2017, if you enter that year with 20 leads, how many deals will you do out of the gate? 5 is correct. And so they won't all happen in January. 3 might happen in January and 2 in February, or 2 in January and 3 in February. Plus, you'll probably get another deal or 2, which means by the end of February, which by the way, metaphorically, that is your point of no return. On the mountain, it's 80% up the mountain. That's the point of no return. And so for a realtor, whatever the state of your year on February 28th or 29th, March 1st, that is the point of no return. So at that point, if you've had a fast start, you've now created an avalanche, which the truth is, just like an avalanche in real life, you could not screw it up if you tried. You get an avalanche moving, get snow moving at the top of the mountain in January and February. By the time you get to March 1st, You've done 6 or 7 deals, which for most people, that would be a fast start, yes? Yes? Now the truth is you could screw up the rest of the way and just ride that avalanche to your goals. That's the way it is. That is the power of focus, the power of momentum, the law of attraction, you become what you think about. All of the principles are in play in your favor. Unfortunately, every coin has 2 sides. That also means if you get a slow start and you get to March 1st and you only have 1 sale or 2 sales, you're off to a slow start, yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
That means this year, unfortunately, you're going to have a tough year because all those principles and forces are working against you. And so you're going to work, and I'm not saying you're getting out of the business, you probably won't. But if your goal is 20, 25, you end up with 12 and you make 100 grand. And when you end 2017, you go, okay, good riddance. Next. And 2018, you get to that point of no return, March 1st, you had a fast start, you have an avalanche of success. So in order to be safe, so really all of our clients at whatever level, I've been telling you for the last 60 days to get a list of 20 leads for January, yes?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And to right now, really, you're collecting snow. So that in January, when you come back to work after a couple weeks off, you get up at the top of the mountain and start kicking snow around, yes?
Yes.
Metaphorically, start kicking snow around. Start get it moving down the mountain. Is anybody here a downhill skier?
Yes.
Okay, this is your year.
Right.
This is your year, yes? But there are some years that you're like, this sucks. It's like I'm looking at the mountain and I see more green than I see white. You understand that? It's a bad year for skiers. A lot of realtors are going to come back to work in January, and metaphorically at the top of the mountain, you see more grass than snow. The odds of having an avalanche now are impossible because in the last part of the year, the 4th quarter in the previous year, 2016, you didn't make snow. And so you get to back to work January 3rd, 4th, 5th, whenever you come back, your job is you're supposed to take those 20 leads and start processing them, start kicking snow down the mountain. And so that by the end of February, you've got some momentum and then you just ride that thing. The realtors that do this correctly and they get to the end of the year, I have to tell them that you understand on an avalanche, when the snow gets to the bottom of the mountain, it stops. Because sometimes they think that because the previous year they worked really hard in the 4th quarter and had a big list of leads for January, and they got a fast start and they rode this avalanche, they think that's their new permanent business, but it's not. It's only for 1 year. And so we have some people that 2015 in the 4th quarter, because they had a tough 2015, and they go, the truth is I didn't enter January with very much, which means there was no snow to kick around. So they had a tough year and they didn't want to have that happen again. So the 4th quarter of 2015, they got tons of leads for January. They made lots of snow. And then they came back in January and started kicking it around. And 1 and 4 worked out, and by the point of no return, they had an avalanche. You guys understand that?
Yes.
And so now, this time of year, I'm trying to explain to them, you haven't created something forever. You just created and architected your 2017 with an avalanche. See, I'm saying to them, you have less leads for 2017 than you had going in 2016. So it's a whole new ball of wax. You haven't created something permanently. So one gal particularly had a bad year in 2015 because we didn't know her in 2014, and she didn't know to work hard and get a big list of leads for January. And so she had a tough 2015. That's the way it is. You just get to the end of the year and that's the way it is. There's no way around it. This is involving all of the principles that we rely on as entrepreneurs. And so she made sure at the end of 2015 she had 40 leads for January of this year. That's a lot of snow to kick around, yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
And by March 1st, she had sold 8, created an avalanche, and been riding it the whole way. Truth is, she's been screwing up all over the place, but you can't stop an avalanche once it starts. But I'm trying to explain to her, in the next 2 weeks, all of that snow will settle at the bottom of the mountain. You gotta do it again. No, Rob, I can't stop this. I know what you think. It's gonna go on forever. It's not. 2017 is a whole new mountain. And right now you have 11 leads for January. That is not the same as 40. That is a very light snow. That's not a lot to kick around. You have work to do in January. So I need to ask a question here. Who in the room has a list of 20 leads for January or more? Hands up. Hands up really high. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. Is that it? Okay, the rest of you are not safe. Don't fool yourself. You are not safe. In order to be safe and kick a lot of snow around in 2017, you have to have at least 20 leads. If you do not, you've not been doing what I've asked you to do the last 60 days. I've talked about this every meeting, yes? Yes or no? Since the end of September. We call the fourth quarter the push in our program for this reason only. It's the quarter that will dictate your 2017. I was doing this talk, obviously a lot this time of year, starting in September. And a gentleman emailed me and said, I just want you to know what you're talking about is correct. I already knew that, by the way, that what I'm talking about is correct. You guys know from being here all year with me that our program has a lot of psychology in it, yes?
Yes.
I'm going to show you some more today. A lot of how the brain works. I'm showing you how you can invoke the law of attraction to have magic, an avalanche. He said, I've had 2 years that were amazing. I was like the best agent in the office. Couldn't do anything wrong. And I went back and I looked and I saw, although I didn't know that I should create those big list of leads in the fourth quarter, I got lucky out of the year, and 2 of my database wanted to sell and buy right in January. I had 3 deals in January and I picked up 4 more in February. I got lucky, really. That is luck. And he said I had a magical year. And I had 2 years that I actually thought about getting out of the business. I thought that the business has left me. And then I had 6 years that were kind of average. So he said I went back and checked that I have good files. The 2 years I actually thought the business had left me, I thought about getting out of the business, I went 0 for January and 0 for February. I had no snow, using my metaphor. I had no snow, and I didn't get lucky. I didn't do my first deal till March. He said that was a tough year. That is the way it is. On a mountain, the point of no return is about 20% down the mountain. For the realtor, the point of no return is March 1st. If you have not created an avalanche by March 1st, you have bought yourself a tough year. Not the first time I'm telling you this. And so, I would highly recommend that you work really hard for a bit here, and then really, 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 really hard in the first week or 10 days of January, because a lot of people in this room are relying on luck in 2017. That's a mistake at this point. But you can't put toothpaste back in a tube, can you? Yeah. Trust me, I always use that phrase, so I tried. And it's a fact. Once it comes out, that's it. It does not go back in the tube. Don't make the mistake next year. And know that because maybe if you don't have 20 leads, on January 3rd, which is the Tuesday, I can't imagine you coming to work on January 2nd. We're opening up our company the 3rd. I mean, New Year's Eve is Saturday night, right? Yeah. And then you're recovering Sunday. I can't ask our staff to come in Monday. So we're opening Tuesday. When you come back to work, if you do not have 20 leads or more, you should be thinking about this metaphor and try your very, 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 very best to work. March 1st is the date. Whatever that date is, when you get to March 1st, if you have a fast start, you won't have mostly as the list of 20 leads, unfortunately. You won't have a lot of snow on top of the mountain, but that's okay. You got 2 months to work. If you have a fast start on March 1st, you had a really good 2 months. You have the principles of the planet working in your favor. It's a law of momentum. It fuels the avalanche, it'll fuel your business. I'm telling you this, who would like to have it where, honestly, Rob, I couldn't stop it if I tried? Who'd like that? Seriously? Okay, all right. Some of them are all plays. On March 1st, if you have a fast start, you could skip calling 111th, not entirely, but you could say, my 90 days of calling my database, I was 40-50% best at that. That'd be fine. If you have an avalanche. If you don't have an avalanche, you can't make any mistakes. So March 1st, that's the point of no return for realtors. Where you are on that date will dictate how the rest of the year goes. I don't think I could make this, I'm not trying to make it sound dramatic, but I think that whether you have magic on your side or magic working against you, I think that's important that you need to be thinking about. All right, turn to page 69, please. Let's talk about pricing. Page 69. All right, and so again, before I give you this technique and I'll tell you what it does in the brain. You don't have a workbook? Okay, well, that's fine. I don't have one either. So, well, I have one, mine. So if you're going to be coming new, I need to know before the class that I don't know if the office has any more workbooks. Does anyone know? What? Okay, so if in January we're going to have to do people, if you let me know the office, I will print up some more workbooks. Yeah, because they're custom for the company. So I have to print some more up. So who doesn't have a workbook? Yeah, don't go to page 69. But,
Sit still.
what's that?
Sit still.
Just sit still? Okay. That kind of applies to everybody though. You're still going to learn. You're just not going to have to be on page 69. Okay, so take notes down. And then I will bring some books for January. I'll check with the office on how many more books we need. Okay, and so I'd like you to write this down, please. Write down motivation over price. Motivation over price. This is what has to govern your handling pricing. Let me tell you guys and girls something. First of all, you all agree with that, yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
That is correct. Although, there are still some trainers teaching price over motivation. Or never take overpriced listings. Who's heard that before? Never take overpriced listings. Who's heard that before? That is so wrong, it's almost rude and arrogant. If you're at a listing presentation with a young couple, she's pregnant with twins, they live in a condo, are they moving, yes or no?
Yes.
And they want to try it a bit high?
Yes.
About 30-35% of the listings want to try it a bit high. Nothing weird about that. It's the objection, want to try it high. So they're definitely moving. Or they bought a new home 16 months ago, closing in April, and now it's time to list. They want to try it a bit higher. Are you supposed to walk away from that listing, yes or no?
No.
Of course you should not. Never take overpriced listings is so 1980s, it's not even funny. Motivation over price, not price over motivation. What I'm going to teach you today is well into our program. And so what month are we at? We started in like April. I'm getting to this now. And so when folks join say our one-on-one coaching, they wouldn't get to this material for maybe 6 months. The coach would spend the first probably 2 to 3 months working on 1 in 4 leads works out. You have to have 3 pillars, there's 6. Let's go over them so you can decide which 3 suit you. Your database is number 1. And then how do we process those leads? That's like the first 2 or 3 months of coaching, the rudimentary part, the structure. And you all that have been with me this year, you know that like the back of your hand, yes?
Yes.
Yes or no? Like you're a 10 at that because of the time we spent on it. Then the skills start. And so I got a call last night from one of our clients somewhere in Alberta. I don't know where from, to be honest with you. And he said, I was on a listing presentation. I couldn't get them to price it right. So anything different I could have done. I said, how long have you been in our coaching? He goes, 3 months. Well, I know they wouldn't be at this material yet. I said, so when you say you couldn't get them to price it right, what do you mean by that? Well, I kept pushing for the right price, but I couldn't get them to price it right. I said, why are they moving? He said, well, they bought a new home. It closes in April. Are they motivated, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I said, so do you believe in motivation over price or price over motivation? He goes, oh, motivation over price. I don't think so. I don't think so. Otherwise, you wouldn't push so hard there and push yourself out of the equation probably. See, if you're at a listing and they have to move and you're pushing for the right price, you have in your mind price over motivation, yes or no?
Yeah.
I said, do you think you could call back and get that listing? He goes, yeah, probably. See, I knew he could not. Because see, there's a point on a listing presentation when you go over it, you might as well keep closing because you're not getting back in. You went past the point of no return. As soon as you leave, they look at each other and they say, we're not having that guy back. We're not having her back. There's a point, if you go past it, you push yourself out of the equation. And I know, of course, he did that in his words. I said, call them and see if you can get the listing. I'll teach how to get a price right in 2 weeks. And so he called them back, and then he called me back and said, no, they went with someone else. Of course they did. Because he pushed so hard, he pushed himself out of the equation. You guys got that? Actually, that's a big mistake most realtors make. See, when I said motivation over price, you all agreed with me, because that sounds better. It is correct. But you operate most times price over motivation, pushing for the right price, which means you operate price over motivation. And there is teaching, never take overpriced listings, which is incorrect. Motivation over price. Now listen to me. I'm not saying to take all listings. I'm not saying that. When you go on a listing and they're not motivated and they want to try it high, you should not take it. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you next a phrase that people say. When they say this phrase, you should not take the listing. And it's only said by people that are not motivated and want to try it high. The people that are motivated and want to try it high never say this phrase. If you hear this phrase, you should shake their hand, thank them for their time, tell them you love their dog, they have a beautiful home, you wish them luck and leave. And what I'm going to share with you, I've done in my career at least 100 times. Very, very common. And the phrase is this: I want X in my pocket. I want 800,000 in my pocket. When you hear the phrase in my pocket, you should ask a couple very direct questions and probably shake their hand and leave. See, those that are motivated to move but want to try it high never say that phrase, ever. They say, we want to try it for a couple weeks, yes? They never say in my pocket. Only the people that want to try it high and are unmotivated say in my pocket. You understand that? So write this down, please. If I hear the phrase in my pocket, I should thank them for their time and leave. If I hear the phrase in my pocket, I should thank them for their time and leave. If I hear the phrase in my pocket, I should thank them for their time and leave. Saying that over 30 years, I've done that about 100 times. I don't know, maybe more, a lot. And so it will go like this. So maybe the home was worth 800,000, and they say we want 850 or 900,000 in my pocket. As soon as I hear that phrase, I just ask a couple questions. Okay, so if you don't sell, so I guess I have to sell it for 925 or 930. If you don't get 900 in your pocket, would you just stay here? Yes. Okay, so you have no connections anywhere else. No. If I can't get that, I'm just going to stay here. I'm quite comfortable here. So I then say, you know what? No, watch, listen to me. There is no getting up and walking out. There is no ego, there is no arrogance. It's very cordial, very polite. If they have a dog, I love the dog, and dogs love me. I grew up on a farm. Anyone here grow up on a farm? Dogs love us, yes? It's part of growing up on a farm. That's just the way it is. In my career, I've got at least 15 listings from the dog loving me. That dog goes to nobody. Well, I think we should follow the dog. They say they have very acute instincts, So I'm at a presentation, they say I want 900 in my pocket. Okay, so if you don't get this, would you just stay here? Yes. Okay. And so you're comfortable here, you can stay here forever, no problem. Yeah, if I don't get that in my pocket, I'm just staying here. Okay. Listen, guys, you guys are wonderful people. I love your dog. You have a beautiful home. I wish I could help you, but I cannot. Shake their hand, very polite, very cordial, and leave. You understand that? And so over my career, how many, it's more than 100 for sure. How many of them do you think have called me back and priced it right? How many do you think of the 100 and something? Zero. Not even one has even ever called me back. Now listen to me. Sometimes realtors think, yeah, but if I don't have any listings, maybe I should take it, yes? Okay. In Rogers Communications, they have bundles, yes? Guys know what I'm talking about? That bundles, the reason it's such a clever idea is it comes from a human nature because people have bundles. That's why at the subconscious level, you warm up to the bundles. They're pretty smart, actually. So any area on anything that you have a thought on, you don't have one thought on it, you have bundles. There are other things. Now, in this case, I want 900,000 in my pocket. Understand that? And the home is worth 800. That's a flaw on pricing, yes or no? But that's not the only flaw. There's a bundle of flaws. That's why you need to leave. The other flaws are he will also hassle you every day. He'll also demand open houses. He'll also want you to be advertising in 19 different papers. He's also going to fire you in 30 days. And if you do bring him an offer, he won't even look at it. That's the same guy. Other flaw, other flaw, other flaw, other flaw, other flaw, other flaw. You understand that? That's the rest of the bundles. And so when you're at a listing presentation and they say, I want X in my pocket, now watch. If the home was worth 800,000 today, and he says, I want 800 in my pocket, you can do that. You understand that? I'm talking about when they want to price it high and not motivated. You need to thank them for their time and leave. Because let me tell you something, guys and gals. You go to a listing that want to try it really high and they want that in their pocket, and you take it, it will not end well for you. You'll get used and abused and fired in 30 days. And you'll be sorry you took the listing when they say that phrase. So I have a rule in my business that when I go on a listing presentation and I don't get it for whatever reason, I never check the listing, ever. See, And to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to have the ability to get over things quickly. And so realtors don't really possess this ability too much. You go on a listing and they list with someone else. And then 2 weeks later, you're doing a CMA and you punch in their address just to check in on them. How they doing? Oh, now they reduce it to my price. Then you're mad again. And then a week later you check, now it's sold conditional, now you're mad again. Then it closes, then you're mad again. They chose someone else a month ago, yes or no? Yep. Never check the listing. You want to have freedom in your career. When someone doesn't list with you for whatever reason, never check the listing. You understand? And so that's just the way it's always been for me. I go there, they say, you know what? We've decided to go with Bila from C21 Heritage. I go, you know what? You've chosen an excellent realtor. I wish you guys luck. Have an amazing day, and I'll never think about them again as long as I live. It's weird that I'm going to see them at my family reunion because they do that. Hey, how's it going? But I will never think of them ever again. Never check it. It's done for me. I'm focused on the numbers, yes? I want to do 25 deals. I need 100 leads. They were one of them. They chose Bila, yes or no? That's it for me. I'm done. See, realtors say this to me. Yeah, but I should monitor it in case the listing expires. Really? That's just your brain rationalizing why you can't let it go. And by the way, how is that conversation going to go 120 days from now? Hi, remember me, the guy you should have chose? How's that going to go? They didn't choose you once, not choosing you the second time. Well, they might if it's your cousin, maybe. You're going to run into them anyways. Let it go. So I went on a listing. Josh was doing something, and he said, I want $1,050,000 in my pocket, and the home was worth $950,000. Okay, little bell goes off in my head. So I need to sell it for $1,100,000 to get you $1,150,000. So if that doesn't happen, what would you do? I'll say here. Okay. So have you been looking at homes? No. Okay. So no attachment anywhere? No. You don't want to retire and move to the lake? No. I will stay here for the next 10 years. Should I take this listing? Yes or no? No. I thank them for the time. They had a beautiful dog. That's it. Now, here's the thing. You know I will never check that listing, but it's between my office and my house. I'm not going to drive around it. I'm not changing my routine at all. I just will never think of that. And so a few days later, I'm on my way to work, and I see a real estate sign there. I don't know what they listed for. I never checked it. I don't care. I moved past it. We're done. And so 30 days later, sign's gone. Because that's what happens. It's part of the bundle. First, he hassled them for a month and then fired them. How does that make a realtor feel? Then another sign showed up. And then that was there for about 3 weeks and it was gone. So far, there's been 6. Over about 8 months. That's the guy. You understand that? So I'm not saying take all listings. I'm saying motivation over price. If they're motivated, try to get it priced right. I'm going to show you that. But if they won't price it right, do not push so hard that you push yourself out of the equation. I'm going to give you exact dialogue at the table to get it priced right. If it doesn't work, it'll work perfectly 2 weeks later. But that's for motivated people. Never take overpriced listings is an idiotic statement. That's insane. About 30-35% of the people want to try their home high, yes or no? Yes. And sometimes they have to move. Like they bought a new home, closes in April. Like the gentleman out in Alberta, his client. Do they have to move, yes or no? Yes. He should have taken that listing. But his coach hasn't got to this material yet because it's well into the program. And so, you guys all clear? Okay, so write this down, please. I need to push for the right price. I need to push for the right price without pushing myself out of the equation. I need to push for the right price without pushing myself out of the equation. I need to push for the right price without pushing myself out of the equation. Okay, now, it's really interesting how the brain works when you're on a listing presentation. Now, if you're with your friends, the things that we teach you are really not for your come list me's, obviously. You have a come list me, you're not going to go over and do the seller's 6 questions on the listing presentation. And so it'll work like this. So you're at a listing presentation and the home was worth $800,000. The right price is $799. I don't think what I'm going to teach you is going to matter too much for the next few months. But once this goes away, it is not coming back for 20, 25 years. That's the way it is. the vast majority of your career will be neutral, where price will matter. For me, it'll be 30 years next June. I got licensed June the 9th, 1987. So it'll be 30 years next year. It'll be 5 years of super sellers market, two and a halves, one in the beginning, one near the end, and 25 years of normal. That's how your career will go. And so if you're young right now in this room and you just got a license, you're gonna see the next one. Like I was 26 when I got licensed and I got it right away. That's the way it works. And so you're at a listing and they say, let's say it's worth 800,000 and they bought a new home for April. And they say, we just wanna try 850. And they bought a new home for April. Are they motivated, yes or no? Okay, so let's pretend right here is the line, right here, this here. So this is the line where if you go over it, once you get over here, you might as well keep going. Because once you leave, you're never getting back in again. You understand that? If you make a mistake and close too hard for the right price, you might agree with me, motivation over price, but you're operating price over motivation. Once you get past the line, keep going if you make the mistake. Because when you leave, you're never getting back in again. You have to dispense all the 1980s, 1970s sales training. Always be closing, ABC. Never take no for an answer. Always close 7 times. That was all before the public was smart, yes? You guys understand that? I've been doing this now for 20 years. I taught no psychology at all in my first 10 years. It didn't apply. Now it applies because they're smart, yes? Dealer would know this is true. Who else has been licensed for more than 25 years? Okay, so you know this is true. In 1987, when I was a new realtor, 26 years old, I'm going on a listing presentation to people that are my age, 56, back then. I'm 26. But when a realtor went on a listing presentation before the public was smart, they were nervous that a realtor was in the house. They dressed up, not in a suit. But if you were going to the bank for a bank appointment, you would put on nicer clothes than your tracksuit, yes or no? Yes? That's what they did on listing presentations, correct? Yes? And then they would sit there. They didn't know anything. If they had a question, they put their hand up. You go, do you have a question? They go, yeah, we just were talking, just wondering, actually, is there any flexibility on the 6%? No, there's no. Any other questions you guys have? No. Oh, no, we're just asking. So it was in the 1980s. That's how it was until 2005. But now they're smart, yes? They're not as smart as they think they are. But they're smart, yes or no? You get sign calls now, and they say, hi, is that property available? It's actually sold. Conditional financing and inspection? You go, are you a realtor? No. They talk like us. They understand things, yes or no? So 1996 to 2006 or so, I had zero psychology in my training. You could bully people. But now, you better be more clever, yes or no? In the way you're saying things. I mean, we just bullied them. No, there's no, that's what it costs to list. Okay, well, we were just asking. Well, you asked. Can we move on now? No, any other questions worked until the last 10 years. Now, would you cut the commission? No, any other questions? Yeah, no, not a question, a statement. Get out. You'll get kicked out with that type of dialogue, yes or no? Now you better communicate at a much better level. So if they're motivated, you're going to use this technique I'm going to teach you. And I'm going to teach it to you now is what to say at the table, which will take you right to here. And then you have to live with their result. If you push after here, you might agree with me, motivation over price, but you're operating price over motivation. That's a mistake. You understand that? And so it'll go like this. So you're at a listing and they have to sell. And they say, we just want to try 850 for a couple of weeks. By the way, the folks that are motivated never say in my pocket, ever. They will never say that phrase. That term is solely for people that are unmotivated, and this is one of the flaws they have in this area. They're going to hassle you every day. They're going to make you advertise like crazy, open house like crazy, and then they're firing you in 30 days. And it's all your fault. Then you're sorry that you took that listing. When you hear the phrase in my pocket and they want to try it high, thank them for the time and leave because it will not end well for you. It will be impossible. And so they say we want to try 850. You would say this, okay, so you're looking to put it on at 850, is that correct? And they go, yes. I know that when people are moving, they're trying to get as much money as they can. I get that. I'm not moving myself right now, but if I was, I would also want to get as much as I can. So I have no issue with that whatsoever. Do you mind if I share something with you? Now, what I just did, is not the technique. What did I just do? That's called repeat, approve, and build a bridge. That's the technique I taught, which new people here, it was a previous class, okay? And so that technique is the technique that goes between every objection handler and your clever thing you say. In this case, the objection is, we want to try it high. That's the objection. It's probably the second most common objection after, would you cut the commission? I want to try it high. Second most common objection. You repeat what they said so they know that you listened and they know that you heard, and you said it back to them. You give them a approval, which triggers something in their brain called the law of reciprocation, which controls every human being on the planet. When people do something to you, you want to reciprocate and do the same back. So I agree with them, yes? I understand. You want to get as much as you can. I didn't say the price of $8.50 is correct. I said their motive is correct, because it is correct. So I approved them, and then I built a bridge. Do you mind if I share something with you? Which is permission to continue. That's what that technique does. Takes 20 seconds. And now, listen carefully. Their brain is in a state that has a very strong desire to agree with me for 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't get their brain to like your objection handler. It gets their brain to be in a state to want to reciprocate and agree with you for 3 to 5 minutes. It just so happens during that 3 to 5 minutes, you're giving the objection handler. You guys understand that? Which the objection handlers I'll share with you takes you right to here. If it works, great. If it doesn't, stop. If you use it and they say, I get that, we just want to try it for a couple weeks, you're right here. That line is on your hip. You can't say then, well, you know, Christmas is around the corner and the next pickup is, now you're over the line. You have to deliver the technique I'll teach you and then live with whether it works or not. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't work, it's okay. Because this same technique that works half the time at the table is 95% 2 weeks later. So if you really think it through, for the rest of your real estate career, when you're on a listing presentation with people that have to move, motivated people, does it really matter to you if they price it right today or price it right 2 weeks later? Does that really matter? No, doesn't matter at all, actually. So this technique I'll teach you, I've been doing for 30 years. And the truth is, as I'm delivering it, I don't even care if it works. Because the truth is, in this case, in this scenario, they bought a new home for April, yes? Yeah. So if they price it right today, the technique works. When's their closing date? April. What if they price it right in 2 weeks? When's their closing date? That's the majority of your scenarios, yes or no? So the other day, Josh was on a hockey tournament, so I went on a listing presentation for him, and they were in Brooklyn, and this was their numbers. And they said, we just want to try $8.50 for a couple of weeks. So I repeated, approved, build a bridge, and use this technique I'm going to teach you in a minute. But as I'm doing it, I'm not desperately hoping that it works. What do I care? As it turns out, it did work. But that's fine. It doesn't matter if it works. So your mindset and frame of mind will be so much better because you're not desperately hoping that they price it right. Because it doesn't matter. For 30 years, when I use this technique, which is, you know, I sold over 100 homes a year for 12 years in a row. And that's a lot of listing appointments, yes? I listed 100 properties or more for 12 years in a row. That's a lot of listing appointments. It's a lot of people overpricing, maybe 500. So I've delivered it a lot of times. But as I'm delivering it, I don't really care. If it works, they go, okay, we should maybe go 800. Okay. We just want to try 850 for a couple of weeks. Okay. Doesn't matter to me, because if they price it right here or price it right here, it doesn't really change my career very much. You understand that? Or their situation, really, for that matter. So it'll take away the awkward and the desperate for trying to get this thing priced right. So write it down, please. The technique is called the A, B, C, D technique. The technique is called the A, B, C, D technique. The A, B, C, D technique. That's what it's called. I'll show you how to do it. But let me tell you this first. As I explain it to you, you're going to think, yeah, that's not exactly how it works, Rob. I know that. You see, when you get an objection from somebody, in this case, we want to try it high, and you repeat, approve, build a bridge, because that comes between the objection and the objection handler. In this case, the objection handler is the ABCD technique. That tells them that you listened and you heard. Nothing turns people off more than salespeople not listening to them. Repeat, approve, build a bridge, and then you use the ABCD technique. And so this technique is not exactly how the business works. It's so basic and rudimentary, it's just kind of how it works. And so the better objection handlers are very basic and very rudimentary, so it kind of works that way. You see, when you list somebody's house and sell it, and sell them one, and then they close 60 days later and they move in, you don't have to so educate them on the market that they can maybe pass the real estate exam now. That's a mistake on your part, using complicated things. It's better if you, for lack of a better word, dumb it down so rudimentary, they go, oh, I get that. The realtors, you'll say, doesn't actually work that way. It kind of works that way. I know it's so basic and rudimentary, they get it. You guys understand that? Those are your best objection handlers. So I'm gonna give it to you and then we'll take a short break. We'll go back and explore it. So here's the concept of it. So you need to listen carefully. What I'm gonna point out to them after repeat, approve, build a bridge, putting their brain in a state to have a very strong desire to agree with me for 3 to 5 minutes, I'm gonna explain to them that the A buyer is amazing. That's my point. The B buyer is also good, the C buyer is not so good, and the D buyer is very bad as they're going down. You guys understand that? So that's the concept of what I'm gonna do here. When I'm finished explaining it, I will be right here. And so if it works, amazing. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Because this technique is 50% effective at the table. So half the time, they'll price it right, half the time they will not. The half that do not price it right, 2 weeks later, the technique is 90, 95, 97%. It's almost 100%. Almost everybody prices it right the second time you revisit this technique. So it's 50-50 at the table, it'll work half the time. And then the half it doesn't work, it's almost 100% 2 weeks later. That's what I mean by whether they price it right here or price it right there. Does it really matter? No. So it would sound like this. So just listen, you'll get it. So we want to try 850, Rob. We just want to try it for a couple weeks. That's what they would say. Something like that. They would never say, we want X in our pocket. Motivate people never say that phrase. That phrase, we want X in our pocket, you've been burned by these people before, yes? Your instinct told you to run, but you didn't. And so, okay, so you want to try 850, is that correct? They go, yes, repeat. I know that when you're selling, you're trying to keep as much of your money as you can and make as much as you can. Well, of course you want to do that. I'm not moving myself personally, but if I was, I also would want to make as much as I could. I'm being honest with these people because their motive is correct. Do you mind if I share something with you? They go, sure. When they say, sure, what really is going on in their brain is this. Really, their brain is saying to them, yes, you must talk to me right now. I have a very strong desire to agree with you right now. And I would say this, in every marketplace, there's a grade A buyer comes in. And the grade A buyer is amazing. They pay the right price, they close on the right date, and they don't ask for your stuff. Perfect. And then behind them is the grade B buyer. Don't walk around in the house. I'm just illustrating the line here. Okay. The grade B buyer comes next. They also offer the right price. They close on the right date, but cost us some appliances and a little concession. Common. And then the grade C buyer comes in behind them and they take the next best one, which dates don't line up, price isn't quite as good, more challenging. And then behind them is the D buyer. And they're like a shrewd investor. That's not the person we really want. I'm at here now, you understand that? And just ask a question. So if you had a choice, would you rather negotiate with the A buyer or the D buyer? What would they say? And then you have to say, jokingly, of course you would. I'm sorry for asking such a rhetorical question. You see, this is the end of the presentation talking about price. I taught in the listing presentation to keep it light, yes? Yeah. Keep it light. Yeah. Joke around. You know from years of experience, most of you, when you have a listing presentation and they're joking around with you, they list with you almost every time, yes or no? Yeah. Try to create that environment. So I've joked around with them a lot up to here. So for me to jokingly say, of course you want the A buyer, I'm sorry for asking such a rhetorical question, of course you do, is in line with from here back. But you have to say that because would you rather negotiate with the A buyer or the D buyer is an insanely rhetorical question. So you know what, I'm sorry for asking such a rhetorical question, of course you want the A buyer. And then just say this. So on the comparative market analysis here, there's one at $7.99 and one at $8.05. And we're gonna be $8.50. So what price would you have to choose so the A buyer would choose us over these two? What price would we have to be? And half the time they say, well, we'd probably have to be in the 800 range if we want the A buyer to choose us. Well, that's correct. And the other half of the time they say, well, can we just try this for a couple of weeks? You guys understand that? Yeah. Now, where am I right now? I have to live with it. Because I'm going to show you after the break, this same technique 2 weeks later now jumps from 50% almost to 100%. So it doesn't matter to me. But right now, I explain the A, B, C, D buyer. I know that's not exactly how it works. It's not like in the marketplace, an A buyer comes in first and takes the best one, and then a B buyer takes the next one, and a C buyer takes the next. It doesn't work that way, does it? Does it?
No.
But that's rudimentary, yes?
No.
It's an illustration that they understand. Those are the best ones when they're very rudimentary. So 50% at the table, so jot that down, please. This technique is 50% at the table. That's all our clients get the same result, 50%. When we come back from break, I'll redo it a couple more times for you, and then I'll show you how to revisit it 2 weeks later and why it's almost 100% 2 weeks later. Okay, before we take off on break, I did bring a few of my books because a couple of you asked me to. By the way, my second book, the Realtor's Magic Formula, is finished. It's at the editors right now. It'll be out about probably mid-February, the second book. This book, Grass is Greener on This Side of the Fence, is a mindset perspective book. I'm gonna write 10 books, one a year for 10 years. I'm only gonna write one real estate book, and that's done now. It's called The Realtor's Magic Formula, but there isn't anymore. But I have lots of thoughts on motivation and self-help books. So the third book will be Success Explosion. Would you like that? Have a success explosion, yes or no? Well, I might want to buy that. It'll be out next year at this time. And so these books are, I'll sign them, The Grass is Greener on the Side of the Fence. It's a mindset perspective book. Has anybody read it?
I have it.
You can't tell me it's not awesome.
It's great.
We sold 17,000 copies this year. It's not even really what I do. So they're 20 bucks if you want one. There's only a half a dozen there. Grab it at the break. It'll be 20 bucks. Everybody's happy camper. I'll see you in 5 minutes. So I'm not talking like it's not online. If you see the book, it's printed for $200. I do this at 20 off. Yeah, no, I get that. So but we print them for the amount of people who are in the program, right? So I didn't know more people. So we'll print more, but we close off down in 2 days. So we'll have to take the books and over the printer. And there's also a CD that comes with it here. Let me show you this stuff. So after print, we have to burn them as well. Next year, books are set up. Yeah, this so on come back answer. Yeah, no. What the CD is.
Good morning. I'm calling from Aurora Plaza, close to the Good Life Fitness, sir. I'm one of the tenants. I got your number from the super. You have some problem with the heat. Or you told me that you guys could look at it. Yes.
Well,
That's fine. Okay. How soon can you be there?
no, I know now to check with the office. It only takes 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, great.
So I'll know now to check.
Okay.
We started, we left the office with about 15 experts. They ran out of this. Okay.
That's one word. Spring Bank. Thank you. And you should be Linda? Are you Cam? Cammy or Tammy?
listings.
Carry. Okay.
Maybe how many listings since the beginning?
Okay, I'm out. And hi, and this is from Nails for You. Down there, so just give you a heads up. You should come and visit us sometime. Yeah, for the New Year and all. Okay, thanks, Danny. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
So, but here's the thing.
So yeah, Zani is fine.
20.
I knew that.
20,000 is normal.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah,
It's
so-
18, 19,000 is normal, right?
Yes, 20. 20 is the pivotal point. Anything less than 20 is like where the seller, 18,000 is like where the seller just crazy something.
Yeah.
So we're trying to look here.
It's gonna change that.
Hi, baby. How are you? Not too bad. So I spoke to the guys at the office. They have their own people. So they say it's better that we send our own people because they know everything about the system.
They're on fire for goodness sakes. They did.
I should, but no, I don't.
Yeah,
Royal
okay.
Bank.
So I should just ask them to come out.
Well, I bought
Okay,
black
no
Royal Bank
problem.
stock in I don't know, August, $78. It's $90.
Sweet.
$12 a share.
Yeah.
Bank's on fire right now.
I don't know.
So they're making record profit. They don't need to raise their rates. These are all connected to making this happen. So it just can't happen in November, December because we just.
No, because they're not gonna, the guy's not gonna open the door
We get,
basically
go in and get a little more inventory.
to strangers. That's what he said. Said he has to be there, I have to see his company. What company? Is it a company or just a guy?
See, as soon as the inventory moves up to like 12, 13, 14,
It's up to you. It might take long. I think I suggest we go with this guy.
that's what's always happened in the past, right? So right now, that's out of the market. As soon as we get some inventory, and there's some positive, some inventory, they'll also go, we'll call the realtor, okay, I think I can.
Okay,
I can do that.
how you doing?
It'll be a big influx, right? And then we're done, then we're fixed. That's how it always
Oh, yeah,
happens.
there's this. So should I send it to come or what?
It's best thing to go through it.
Yeah, I give,
From my side, it's fine.
It's the thing I love about the market, is it's changing all the time. Like,
okay,
the,
bye.
I've been doing this for a while, like from 1996 to now, although I started trading. The 1 in 4 is constant, but, you know, our clients in Vancouver right now, while they were super hot, they fixed it a different way, not a good way, but they fixed it either way.
How they do it.
Fine. Well, our clients are fine, so the inventory, the membership's going down, because they don't know that it doesn't matter. Our clients are fine, they're happy, their market's amazing. Matter of fact, I got a call from one of them last night saying, most amazing thing happened last night.
Sana oikein super hyvästi.
No, yeah.
Mä samassa kirjoitan
I don't need to know that. I went on a, took an offer.
Foi só a economia
I did it at 1.450, signed it back at 1.49.
Vi har nästan en europeisk vi har bli
In
garage.
fact, at 1 point, and we saw it off at 1.4750 or 75,000. And then I walked away with that. It's amazing. So they just rely on 1.4. However, their coaches now, they would know over the last couple of years that it's not to do too much on this topic because it didn't really matter. It was just and not to coach them on customer service things.
Nej, det är mycket skador med ekonomi.
And now, although 1 in 4 is still the same number, the coaches would start talking about how do you want updates of this.
As long as it's
Around for the last 30 years.
Walla var han همینطوره.
So we have some clients on Tuesday and Thursday. So, but so some of the topics might change. Like here in Toronto,
چه ساعتی همی؟
a lot of coaching in Toronto on pricing. It just happens to come from seeing this. And go down to qualifying to make sure and service topics that we were back away from, you know, for the last couple of months, want to come back into play. And so anyone that's like sworn
Biz من زنگ میزنم میگم مثلا دیگه دو میرسی 100%، چون این بابا باید بره اونجا وایس منتظر ما باش. اوکی اوکی باش.
that never happened in Toronto. By the way, biggest freshwater island in the world. Well, I'm a fisherman, so I know everything about fresh water. So although I went to Wawa to apply fishing there, I have another one booked this August. But I know that Manitoba is the biggest freshwater island in the world.
Yeah, no, I'm a big boater, so still.
You know, it's funny, like, whatever you're into, on my lake, a friend of mine has a sailboat, and he has a small sailboat, and a small thing that's portable. He goes, any sailboats on your lake? I'm like, no, I've never seen it. You got like 500 something cottages. I don't, it's 5 miles long, 1 mile wide. I don't really think we have enough wind or whatever. I've never really noticed any sailboats. Yeah, so he brought his up. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're kidding me. So he says, well, sailboat. I just never noticed them before. They're like, there's literally hundreds of them. I actually never noticed them before. He goes, they're everywhere, Rob. I'm like, that is shocking to me.
No, it's certainly two different markets. You just go a little bit. People are normal out there. You can work on handshakes and things like that. So it's very wonderful things like that. But sure is it.
That's true.
I look forward to balance fires in summer. That is fantastic because it is one out of 4 miles. I was really lucky it was 2 out of 4.
Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, we have clients. We have half our clients 600 or so in Toronto, and then we have 600 around Canada, United States. It's 1 in 4 everybody. And we have all the markets. 1 in 4 in Halifax. They're in all the buyers market. 1 in 4. So, but
When it changes in Halifax, you see a lot of realtors drop out of the market.
yeah. Not in Halifax because there's only like.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
But here, we will be that happy. So unfortunate, but here's the thing. It won't be your people. It's the people that drop out are the people that are a part-time or not making it, which the franchise that's going to be in big trouble is home. Because the last time it happened, remember how big Stockton used to be? But they held a bunch of licenses, right? They get devastated. The last time 8,000 got it, it was almost all apartments. So the office and the franchising would be in trouble, would be home. There's an office in 1,100 homes, 175 are full-time. So I said to the market change for you guys, you better, this is not gonna work. Right now, they all, 800, 900 people are gonna sell them 2 homes a year. Yeah, that's like 60 sales. But they're the ones that get out.
Lots of conversations. And we're not in a race to the bottom.
No, I understand. Well, in human behavior, there's 70% of people buy service basically value 30% of price. Right. So all of those make up this 30%. So they just rotate each other, right? Whether that's red pin or concrete. So when a new one comes on, we're not in trouble. Their competitors are in trouble. That cannot exceed 30%, right? So they just cycle each other out, right? So another one will they put them out of business. They make up 30%, right? And then we operate at 70%, right? So that's what human behavior is. So whenever a new one comes out, it's not franchises that's in trouble. It's property guys they're in trouble because they fight over. Remember Fair Trade? The late 90s, early 90s, Fair Trade. They were controlling that. They put everybody else in business, but they can't jump outside the 30%. That's human behavior. So other ones came from them. Someone will come put property guys on. So the new stuff that comes up. I mean, the proof that this can't change is Zucasa. Because they had advertising saying they understood this. They said, okay, the only way we can do it is if we set the music so you can pick your C21 Remax page agent and get cash back, right? Nothing can work because you can't beat human behavior. They called me to train them. I said, I wouldn't train a franchise. I don't train. I train franchises to beat guys like you. I got a call from right home the other day. Sorry, I can't train there. I train the franchise how to beat you guys. I can't play both sides of the fence. No. But they're gone, right? How does that go? How does it go when the public can call a C21 agent and get cash back on buy and sell through them? Yes. But the public's like, because human behavior is the most powerful thing on the planet. So they're gone, right? They were the only one that tried to jump over, but it couldn't work. So those new things that come up, there'll be lots of them, right? other our business. They spin over here, we're over here. There's nothing to us. Which one?
Everything.
Oh, about the, in my pocket?
Our summer properties were sort of so in fact I know a very good friend of mine. He said, go ahead. He said, Chinese guys will be on the place. He said, no, go ahead. No money. Try it. So how's the new place? Oh, you didn't buy yet.
You made the right call.
Yes. Oh, you looking to buy now? I was very upset that we decided to do that. Go the other way. But put a store on my heart. I said, oh, go ahead.
When you heard that phrase,
Yes.
Been saying that the last 5 years.
well, if I was planning to max out my price on my house if I was selling, I would probably, this seller's market will go in the spring market, which would probably be the last of the crazy, so I'd probably do it then. My kids are wanting to buy another cat thing, so I just haven't to wait one next year. It's probably get at the end of next year, get something a little bit cheaper, probably.
Where you planning to live? You know? Up north? Yeah. Hot in there, right?
I think, I'm not sure we're gonna have a big correction. I don't know, that's hard for me to say. Like in the past, sometimes big corrections,
west of
I don't really know that, I just know this super seller's market's gonna, market might roll, I don't know. Yes, but also we had a super spike up, like 200%. That's not what we're doing. We're doing 20% a year right now. We're 20% over last year. That's the number you see, 22, 23. We went up 200% more in 1 year. That was a much different case. This has been very gradual. So I don't know about the. I'm just saying that the super sellers market is probably going to end and be gone for 5 years. Where the price is going, I don't know.
Which university?
Okay, let's go, kids. Can somebody go tell the people in the hall to come in? Can somebody do that? Tell the people in the hall to get in. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
That's awesome because I want to fill some time.
Yeah, but maybe, can you explain why is this cycle of buyer's market, seller's market, what is the reason behind it? What happens?
I don't know. How long have you been licensed?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. But I think the phrase "the market is a cycle" is probably not the first time you've heard that, correct?
Yes.
So you kind of already knew the market was a cycle, yes? Okay, so why it's a cycle, I don't know. I guess, in your career, what's your name?
Reza.
Reza?
Yes.
So your next 10, 15, 20 years, Reza, of your real estate career, right? It's going to be a seller's market, slightly leaning toward the seller half the time and to the buyers half the time, over time, yes? If it was a seller's market all the time, eventually nobody could afford anything. So it just corrects itself. And if it doesn't correct itself, they make steps to correct it. Hold on.
So you mean the government?
Hold on, Reza, hold on. Come on, people, let's go. Like the bus just broke down outside. Come on, people, let's go. The Realtor's Magic Formula.
I think we're gonna have a downloadable version of that too. Down to your, if you prefer reading that way. I don't, but that's probably more because I'm 56. Okay, so Reza's question is, Why do we have this in the market, this cycle? I guess because if it was a seller's market all the time, eventually nobody could afford it. If it was a buyer's market all the time, that wouldn't be fair. So I don't know. So the market fixes itself on its own a lot, but often it does not. So the government is very focused on the Toronto Real Estate Board selling 100,000 homes a year, which is a lot of land transfer tax, yes? They're never going to say on the 6 o'clock news, yeah, we got to fix this because we got to protect the land transfer tax. They're not going to say that. But in Toronto, the average home is $1 million. 2 land transfer taxes, 35 grand. That's a lot of money, yes? Do that times 100,000. So they don't want the market too carried away because then maybe TREB drops to 80,000 sales, and then that's 20,000 times 30,000 lost. That's a problem. So they're always focused to keep it, let it go, bring it back, let it go, keep it a cycle. So if it comes back a bit, then we bring more buyers in, yes? And so if it doesn't fix itself, what they always do is they start adding a few mortgage rules in to architect what they want. So those who've been licensed for a while know that about 10, 12 years ago, the market was a bit sluggish. So they said, okay, we have a new mortgage rule. You can now take amortization for 40 years. You guys remember that? And that perked the market. That was great, little artificial stimuli. And then 4 years later, once that effectively worked, oh, new mortgage rule, yeah, back to 25. Yes? So they just did that, took it back. So right now, trying to slow it down so that they can bring buyers back into the equation to make sure that they sell 100,000 homes. Like, I don't know how you feel about our government, but one of the things you should like is the fact that they're very concerned that TREB sells 100,000 homes every year. I think you should like that. Be assured that they will keep it in control. So 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, there'll be 100,000 sales, which is 200,000 sides, yes? They have a strong agenda to make sure that that happens. And so right now, got to slow it down a bit to protect that. So, oh, new mortgage rule. You can still have the 2.7, 2.9, you just got to qualify at the 4.64, right? Right? Big deal. It used to be that way anyways. And so once this is done, 3-4 years from now, remember you heard it here first, hey, new mortgage rule, you can now qualify at the 2 point whatever, if that's still the rates. They just keep doing stuff, taking away, doing it, taking away, doing it. Yes, Beulah?
Yes.
Your whole career, yes? They need to slow it down? Let's just raise the rates. We were just talking about this. Oh my gosh, banks are on fire right now in the stock market. They're making so much money, it's insane. They have to report their profits every 90 days. You know why? Because they can't do it every year. It'd be too insane. So to fly under the wire, they report their billions of profits every 90 days, right? So they're raising rates right now. Why? Well, because of what we're talking about. They don't need to. They just want to, they're driven by the Bank of Canada to slow things down. So we have to always have a cycle that keeps the whole, we can't keep going, otherwise eventually it's going to be over, yes? So it's always a cycle. That's the way it always is. And it's pretty predictable if you go back and research the last 100 years and you see these super sellers markets that come every 20, 25 years, and then they're an anomaly. Did I say that right? An anomaly? That's the way it is. So, Reza, just be sure that in 2017, how many homes do you want to sell? How many?
10.
Say 20 instead. Can you find 6 leads a month? Think about that.
I do my best.
No. Say yes or no.
Yes.
Because I'll do my best is no.
See, the problem is people are more, as you mentioned, educated. You know,
And that's bad for you?
competing with you.
Hold on. Careful whatever story you make up, because you're going to be right. Okay. We teach a lot of you become what you think about. So I'd like you to repeat after me, okay? I'm going to say it and I want you to repeat it. You got that? Finding 6 leads a month is insanely simple.
Finding 6 leads a month is insanely simple.
You should talk like that.
Yes.
Because whatever story you make up, you're going to be correct. How long have you been selling, young lady? We talked at the break? Right here? New? Okay. You want to do 20 sales next year? Okay, that's a good first year, yes? Seeing as on TREB, 80% of realtors fail in the first 2 years. 80%. 8 out of 10 get out of the business within 2 years. So repeat after me. Finding 6 leads a month is insanely simple. You start talking like that. Whatever story you tell yourself, you're going to be correct. Don't make up a reason why it can't work for you. You're going to be right either way. So you find 6 leads a month. That is 70, 80 leads a year, yes? 1 sec. Right? Trust me, the math is correct. And then And then 20 deals is a mathematical absolute. What's your question?
When you say leads, how would you describe the leads?
Someone that wants to buy or sell within 90 days. It's in the book you don't have. It's on the page in there. So that's a big window. We're talking January, February, March. So you got to find somebody right now today if you want to find a lead. Someone will buy or sell between now and mid-March. It's a pretty big window. And everything has a 1 in 4 chance. That's the numbers. We talked about this at the break. It doesn't matter where you are in North America. It doesn't matter how long you've been selling. It doesn't matter what's going on in the market. Everybody's 1 in 4. That's the way it is. Focus on 6 leads. Yes, sir?
Since I don't have the book, what's the ratio between prospect and lead? How many prospect changes?
Well, that depends on who you're calling. So obviously, if you're calling around and just sold, you're going to have to talk to quite a few people. If you were calling for sale by owners, it'd probably be a bit quicker. So depending on the 3, we call them pillars that you chose. But overall, once we put everybody in the group, it's 40. But that doesn't mean you'll be 40 because it depends on who you're calling, how big your database, how long you've been selling, and so on. But if you want a class average, it's 40, but not everybody's 40. Contacts to lead found. Okay, let's get back to our topic. And so, you get an objection, so we want to try at 850 for a couple of weeks, which will definitely be the dialogue, or something very similar to that. Repeat, approve, build a bridge. Okay, so you want to try 850 for a couple of weeks, is that correct? They go, yes, okay. Then they know that you listened to them and that you heard. By the way, listening and hearing, 2 very different things. Who's married here? You know what I'm talking about? Who's not married here? Okay, well, this technique is how to get people to do what you want them to do. Might want to pay attention here for single people, okay? So, yeah, you want to try 850 for 2 weeks, is that correct? You know, I understand that when you're selling, you're trying to keep as much of your money as you can, obviously, and make as much as you can. Of course you do. I'm not selling myself personally, but if I was, I also would want to make as much as I can. That's being honest with them, yes or no? Yes or no, guys and gals? There's no patronizing in this. I feel that anyone that's doing any real estate, buying or selling, I feel they should try to do as good as they can for themselves. Do you guys agree? So therefore, I'm approving their motive of trying to do as good as they can. I have no issue with that. Which activates the law of reciprocation. I agreed with them. What do they want to do back? Agree. It's not a trick question. And do you mind if I share something with you? And they go, yes. Which really means, yes, please. Say something right now that I can agree with. I have a very strong desire to agree with you right now. And it lasts for 3 to 5 minutes. And during that time frame, I say this. So here's how it works. In every marketplace, there's a grade A buyer floats in. And the grade A buyer is amazing. They pay the right price, they close on the right date, and they don't ask for your stuff. It's perfect. And then they take the best one. And the grade B buyer comes behind them, they take the next one. Also a great buyer. They pay the right price, they close on the right date. But they ask for some appliances. It's very common. Then the grade C buyer, not so good. The dates don't line up, not enough money. And then behind them is the D buyer, which is a shrewd investor. Or maybe someone that has a big home for sale up in Richmond Hill for $3 million. It's been on the market for 2 years and it's conditional to sell their house. It's just the one we don't want. And then just ask a question. You see why I'm standing here, yes? Don't do this in the house. I was speaking at your Canadian conference in October. I'm going to do a rally in Ottawa with C21 first in January. And while I was in Ottawa, there was other speakers there, 4 actually. And one of the guys said, do your listing presentation standing up. Now you think about that for a second. How awkward that would be. And how 1980s that is. I just went, wow, that is crazy. You understand you cannot do that, correct? You gotta stand at the table and look down at them. That is insane. I said to him later, that's insane. What you're teaching is insane. You need to get some new material, man. I didn't teach any psychology the first 10 years. You need to upgrade. Because you're still teaching 1970s stuff. That's not gonna work. Not today and age, not this day and age. And so, if you had a choice, would you rather negotiate with the A buyer or the D buyer? Which one?
A buyer.
Of course you would. I'm sorry for asking such a rhetorical question. You have to say that. And then just say this. While you're here, just say, so on the comparative market analysis or evaluation, whatever you say, on the appraisal, there's one at 799 and 804, which is typical in the future. And we're going to be 850. So what price would we have to be so the grade A buyer would choose us? over those two and just stop talking. And half the time they'll say, you're probably right, we should probably be more in the $800,000 range. See, I would agree. And half the time they'll say, well, I see that, but I just want to try 850 for a couple of weeks. To which you need to take it now. You guys understand that? You need to say something like this. Well, it doesn't look right on paper. That's not challenging them. You're both looking at it. They would agree. I see that. It doesn't look right on paper. But because you're at the listing presentation at the end, in the beginning of the presentation, 20 minutes ago, you were covering question 1, yes, of the seller's 6 questions. And in that, you said, I'm the hardest working agent on the board. Do you guys remember that? Yeah. So 20 minutes ago, I would have said, there's 2 things I can promise you. Number 1, nobody will outwork me. I am the hardest working agent on the board. I can promise you that. And I'll always tell you the truth. That's the second thing. You cannot promise anything past that. So 20 minutes ago, I said, I'm the hardest working agent on the board. You can promise that, yes? Yes. You can promise to work hard. So now, 20 minutes later, when you say, you know, it doesn't look right on paper, obviously, but I do know one thing. If anyone can sell at that price, it's me because nobody outworks me. In other words, I'm not sure I can do it, but if it can be done, it's me. And then you take it. You understand that? You don't go over here. Now, write this down. The first time they offer you the listing, you cannot take it. The first time they offer you the listing, you cannot take it. The first time they offer you the listing, you cannot take it. The second time, you take it. They'll offer it to you twice. The first time they offer you the listing, you cannot take it. The second time, you take it. And I'll show you what I mean by this, and then I'll show you how it's 100% almost 2 weeks later. So when you're at a listing presentation, and they're motivated to move, if you really think it through, if you're doing this repeat, approve, build a bridge, explaining the A, B, C, D technique, you're planning on taking it, yes? Because if you weren't going to take it, you wouldn't do this. So if you're doing this, you're going to take it. You can have it as long as you're on this side of the line. As long as you're here, you can have it. If you go over here and they say, you know what, we want to think about it for tonight. You go, oh, well, I'll take it, we'll work hard. No, it's gone now. You can only have it when you're on this side of the line. And so if you're doing this process, you've already decided to take it. They'll offer it to you twice. If you take it on the first time, it will send them a bad subconscious message that you're too weak. So you're sitting with a couple and they say, well, we bought a new home for April. You can see they're selling $790. We just want to try $850. You ever notice that when they want to try it high, they always have crazy reasons why? Like, smart people say crazy things. They'll say stuff like, we have the heavy-duty drywall downstairs. It's 5/8 inches thick, not the cheap stuff. Screws, not nails. Yes or no? Yeah. We had our kids all had the graduation pictures in front of that fireplace. You're like, seriously? Like, smart people say stupid things as to why it's worth more. Yes or no? If you're wondering why that happens, don't make fun of them. Because what's happening is this. In their brain, they're looking at the CMA, yes? And the CMA is logic, yes or no? And it's pointing to 800,000, yes? Their brain says this to them. Hey, if you want to stay on the 850 train, you better start saying some illogical things. Because if you have a logical conversation, you're heading to 800. Because that's logical. That's the actives and that's the solds. And that expired is still way less than you're thinking. So if you want to get on the 800 train, start talking logical. If you want to stay on the 850 train, you better start saying some illogical things. And that's why smart people say stuff like, you go, seriously? Our kids had their pictures in front of that fireplace. Don't say, we're not selling memories. Understand why they would say something like that. Smart people are going to start talking illogical because their brain's telling them, you better get on an illogical conversation. Because you stay on a logical one, you're heading to that train. That's why that happens. So don't make fun of them. Don't say, it doesn't matter that the drywall is 5/8 inches thick or the fact that you have screws instead of nails. That doesn't matter. That's what the brain is saying that because of it's directing them to go illogical. Get off the logical path. Because logical paths lead to where you don't want to go. You guys clear on this? Yeah. So ABCD technique, here. And you say, you know what, it doesn't look correct on paper. However, I know one thing, if anyone can sell it for me, anyone can sell it, it's me, nobody outworks me. Now listen, over here, they said, here, say to me, we want to try it at 850.
We want to try 850.
That's what they say, yes or no?
Yeah.
That means they just offered it to you, correct? Think about it. They just offered it to you, yes or no? But you can't take it. Even though I'm training you to say motivation over price. But the problem is, the first time they offer it, if you say, okay, their brain says, you know what, that was way too easy. You took it too easy. You know what, we just want to think about it, and then you're out. You cannot take it the first time they offer it to you. Understand that? They will offer it to you a second time. That's when you have to take it. So they offer it to you, don't take it. Even though you are going to take the listing. Repeat, approve, build a bridge. Explain the A, B, C, D technique. And it's going to work 50% of the time. But let's pretend it doesn't work. Say to me, okay, I get that. We just want to try 850 for a couple of weeks.
Okay, I got that. We just want to try 850 next for a couple of weeks.
That's the second offer, yes? That's the second offer. When you get here after repeat, approve, build a bridge, the ABCD technique, if it works, you're done. If it doesn't work, which is 50%, they're going to offer it to you a second time. No, I get that, because what you're saying is logical for them. I totally get that. We just want to try 850 for a couple of weeks. That's the second time they offer it to you, yes? That's the one you take. You take the second time. Say, you know what? It doesn't look right on paper, obviously. However, I know this. If anyone can sell it, it's me, because nobody outworks me. So, I'm not saying I can do it. But I'm saying if it can be done, it's me. Let's do the paperwork. And you take it on the second time they offer it to you. You guys understand that? Do not take it at that one, because they'll take it back. As soon as you sit down with them and they say, want to try 850, you go, okay, really? You know, we just want to think about it overnight, and then you're out. Because the brain said, that was way too easy. You understand that? Okay, don't take the first one. Repeat it for build a bridge. ABCD technique. It works great. If it doesn't work, they will offer it to you a second time. You're on this side of the line, you're good. Take it on the second time. Is everybody clear? Okay, now, so you want to try it for 2 weeks. So now I leave there with a listing that's overpriced, yes or no? Yes. But I did it correctly, motivation over price. And so we teach to update your sellers weekly, yes? W-E-E-K-L-Y. Somebody's like, I don't get that, Rob. Not the other weekly. W-E-A. Okay, never mind. So, somebody's looking at me like, I don't know what he's talking about. Looking at me like Cal's watching a train go by. Update them weekly. And so, the first week update would go like this. So, ring, ring. Role play with me.
Hello?
Hi, it's Rob Vivian. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Excellent. I wanted to give you an update on what's happening in the market and how the public is reacting to your property, okay?
All right.
That's what your updates on your listing should be. So here's what's happening in the market. So right now, you'd be telling about the ever dwindling inventory. Probably next year, you'll tell them about the rising inventory as we move through the year. And as far as how the public's reacting to your property, what's happening in the market, when we put the home on the market, don't say at the listing presentation. That's not the right words. When we put the home on the market, there was 2 on the evaluation. One was $799, one was $804. They both sold. The $799 sold for $797. I'm going to a market where we're not going 50,000 over again for 20 years. And then the 804 has a conditional offer on it. Because when you do a CMA and the other ones are priced right, that's common to update them on they sold, yes or no? Yes. And then I want to let you know there's a new one came out at 809. Because that's what you'd be updating them on, yes or no? Okay, so the next week, this is update number 2. This is where the ABCD technique jumps from 50% to almost 100%. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, it's Rob Vivian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. You?
Excellent, thank you. This is your second weekly update. And so as far as what's happening in the market, inventory is still staying low. I had mentioned to you last week that a new one came up at 809, yes?
Yes.
Okay, that one now has a conditional offer on it as well. Okay, this is what you update them on, yes or no?
Yes.
And then you get to say this. And watch this dialogue, because now I'm going to revisit the ABCD technique that was 50% at the table is now going to be close to 100%. So, do you remember when we put the home on the market? Again, don't say, do you remember at the listing presentation? We shouldn't talk like that to them. Do you remember we put the home on the market and I explained the ABCD buyers,
Yes.
how they work? Don't say, remember the ABCD technique? Do you remember that technique I was using there? Remember I explained how the ABCD buyers work, yes?
Sure.
Notice that the cycle just happened.
Yeah.
Now, watch the magnitude of this, because At the table, I just said, here's how it happens, yes? The A buyer takes the best one, B buyer next, C buyer next, D buyer next. I just say that's what happens, which is not exactly how it happens, just very rudimentary that they get it. Now, 2 weeks later, I'm pointing out that the cycle just happened. You guys understand that? Which always makes them a bit disappointed because they just missed it. So watch this line. So remember when we put the home on the market a few weeks back, I was explaining how the A, B, C, D buyers work, yes?
Yes, I remember.
Notice the cycle just happened. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, would you like some great news?
Yes.
Yeah, it happens every 2 weeks. You want to get involved in the next 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. So they've all sold the 800 range. What will we have to do price-wise?
We can try the lower price.
That's it. Once you point out the cycle just happened, they're always a bit like, oh, so we just missed it. Yeah. Would you like some great news? They go, what's that? Well, it happens every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Let's say in the market a bit slower, it takes 3 weeks. That's the exact same effect. Maybe it takes update 1, update 2, update 3 for 3 or 4 to sell. So let's say we're on update 3. So this is our third update. The one I mentioned to you last week came on the market 809. It's now got a conditional offer. Do you remember we put the home on the market? I was explaining how the A, B, C, D buyers work. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can notice that that cycle just took place. Yes?
Yes.
Would you like some great news?
Yes.
It happens every 3 weeks. You want to get involved in the next cycle?
Yes, sure.
It's almost 100% here. So this concept for the rest of your career when dealing with pricing, if they're motivated to move, just repeat, approve, build a bridge, explain the A, B, C, D buyer, come to here. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just revisit it after your second or third update, point out the cycle just took place, and then when they're a little disappointed, because they will be, because at the table, I didn't say, here's how it works, it keeps happening. I just say, this is how it works. So 2-3 weeks later, the cycle just took place. And they go, I see that. And they go, so we missed it. Yes. Would you like some good news?
Yes, sure.
It happens every 2 weeks, or it happens every 3 weeks. Would you like to get involved in the next cycle?
Oh, would love to.
So say to me, so if we go to 800, will we sell in the next cycle?
If you go to 800, we will say next cycle?
Probably. I can't say yes for sure, but is probably not true, yes or no? Probably. So maybe. So that revisiting here, now watch, you can't revisit here unless it was your dialogue here. You guys understand that? Because listen to me all, you can deliver the A, B, C, D technique, yes or no? It's very easy dialogue. The thing that's good about this technique, we'll just say all the time, this is actually the way, this is my kind of dialogue. This is the kind of the way I would like to explain things. Not awkward, not pushing, just explaining something. And then once you explain it here, it works half the time, great, doesn't work half the time, revisit it 2 to 3 weeks later, probably 2 weeks, and then they price it right almost 95, 97%. But there is that 2 to 3%, yes? Yes? They are never going to price it right. So write this next thing down. When they won't price it right, when they won't price it right, they at least stop hassling you. When they won't price it right, they at least stop hassling you. When they won't price it right, they at least stop hassling you. So if you've been selling for a while, you know that once you've had a listing for about 30 days, after 30 days, they start challenging you. Not in this last couple of years, but in the bigger, more normal market, they start saying things like, well, we need more advertising. We need more open houses. What are you going to do differently? We need a new marketing plan. Yes or no, guys? Yes. If you follow this path, that will never happen to you. Because the A, B, C, D technique is very simple at the table. Half will price it right and half will not. The half that do not, 95 or 97% will do it right 2 to 3 weeks later, which only leaves a very small percentage of people, yes? But if you stay on this path with them, you're off the hook. It's going to be very difficult for them to hassle you and you keep pointing this out. So let's say, for example, you're the 2 or 3% or 2 to 5%, okay? So I just keep updating you every Monday, yes? Yeah. Okay, so let's just take ourselves into the future. You understand that? Like a couple months down the road. So ring, ring.
Hi.
Hey, it's Rob Vivian. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Excellent. Wanted to just give you our weekly update. And so I'd mentioned last week that another property came on the market at 804. Not right in your neighborhood, but the next one over.
Okay.
People are kind of looking for both. And so it sold conditional. So remember we put the home on the market I was explaining the A, B, C, D buyers, yes?
Yes.
And so now that's another cycle, yes? So that is our 9th cycle now, correct?
Oh, really?
You understand that? I've just listening for 3 or 4 months, that's the way it goes. So this is our 9th cycle, yes? Do you remember the good news?
Yes.
What's the good news?
That I can get involved in the future one.
It's going to happen every 2 or 3 weeks, yes?
Yep.
Do you want to get involved this next time?
I think so.
Good, this is the 9th time.
Yes.
So probably not, you understand that?
Yeah.
Very small percentage of people, but watch. How, if I keep following this sequence, makes it so easy for me to call them every Monday like I'm supposed to, just keep pointing out, so the first cycle, want some good news? Happens every couple weeks, 3 weeks. And he doesn't want to do it. Next cycle, next cycle, next cycle, next cycle. Now it's like cycle 9. He's not going to be able to call me and say, we need a new marketing plan. Clearly, he's the problem. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
If you follow this sequence, 50% will price it right at the table. Easy dialogue, very easy dialogue. The other 50%, 95 to 97% will price it right 2 weeks later. Once you point out the first cycle just happened, and then just say, would you like some great news? And they go, what's that? Well, it happens every 2 weeks. They go, really? Yeah. So I've lost nothing but 2 weeks. Correct. They go, okay, that's almost everybody now. So good for you. But there's the odd one that sticks to their guns, which is probably going to be an expired listing for you. But at least you're not getting hassled. Do you understand that? Because when they start hassling you, you start backing off, yes? And then it just expires. You don't call them the last 30 days. It just expires. You sneak over at midnight to get your lockbox. And then you think, you know what? They can just have the feature sheet stand. It's just the cost of doing business. Because it went bad, yes? Yes or no, guys and gals? I've done that. And so this, I can stay on the up and up all the way. They're not going to hassle you because we've had 9 cycles now, yes?
Yep.
You remember the good news?
Yes.
What's the good news?
That it happened every 2 weeks.
So you want to get involved in the 10th cycle? Say no.
No, not really.
He's not going to hassle me. The hassling me is gone from the equation now. You guys understand that? You guys all clear on this technique today? Okay, all right. So I hope that you're all working hard until Friday. Then I hope you're all going to take a couple weeks off. A lot of you are going to get to the metaphorical mountain in January, and unfortunately there's not enough snow there. That's a problem. That's a problem. However, you can know that the point of no return is March 1st. So the fact that you don't have about a lot of snow on the top of the mountain that you were supposed to create now, you have to create it in January. You got to get your snowmaking machine out. You understand? Either way, when you get to March 1st, if you've had a fast start, you've bought magic. If you haven't, you've bought a challenge. Good luck. Work through it. You're not going to have the year you wanted to have. Don't make the mistake next year. It's a 1 year that this avalanche is. It takes 1 year at a time. That's the way it goes. Okay. When we get together in January, I'm going to teach you something that's going to be new to you on pre-qualifying. And what I'm going to teach you is, right now, realtors think that pre-qualifying your leads, Reza, you need 80 leads next year, right? Yeah, because you know what? Because 6 leads a month is easy, right? Say it again. Yeah, don't make up a story. Just go with that. Okay? And so, last night a new client called me, and here's what she said to me. You know, Rob, I'm a new realtor, and it's very difficult to break into it as a new realtor. Why would you talk like that? I said, why would you talk like that? Because you're going to be right. You can't talk like that. So I said, say this to me. Breaking into the industry is insanely simple. Say that. I said, you need to think like that. You can't make up a story as to why it's not going to work out for you. You got to make up a story why it will work out for you. Finding 6 leads is insanely simple. That's simple. Matter of fact, those who have been with us for a long time say this to me. You know what? Of all the stuff you ask us to do, finding the appropriate amount of leads every month is by far the simplest thing. I mean, I'm like a magnet to leads. I can't keep them away. I can't beat them off with a stick. It's called the law of attraction. You should get involved. So, pre-qualifying. You think that when you get a lead, these 80, right, Reza? You think that pre-qualifying is how much do they make, how much do they owe, what's their TDS ratio, what's their GDS ratio, if they're self-employed, have they been up and running for 2 years? You think pre-qualifying is finding out the data, yes? Yes or no? That is not pre-qualifying for the realtor. Of all the services that people encounter as they're going from house A to house B, everybody operates at a very rudimentary level with them. The lawyer, they go in, sign stuff, and leave. Although the meeting is probably amicable. The bank, they go in, sign stuff, and leave. The building inspector, they have a 3-hour relationship with. They meet him, they travel with the guy for 3 hours, they write him a check for $400, and they get a binder with a CD in it. Awesome. Stagers in, boom, done out. Only the realtor operates at a much higher level with them, yes or no? Yes or no, people? So you cannot reduce yourself to that rudimentary level with them. You'll operate with them for probably the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months, getting a house sold, getting the one, monitoring to the closing. So every lead you get, Reza, you will collect that data, GDS, TDS, how long they've been there, what kind of down payment they have, what they look for. You'll collect that data to service them. Pre-qualifying for the realtor is getting all of your leads to open up and tell you what's going on. So you get a sign call, and they say, hi, we saw that you sold that property, we're thinking of moving. That's a lead, yes or no? What are the odds it'll work out? That's correct. And so now that you have it, you have to get them to open up to you and tell you where they're going, when they want to be there, and why they're going there. And then once you understand that, then you would have pre-qualified this lead. You guys understand that? You cannot be working with any leads. You don't know what's going on. You get a sign call, and they say, we're thinking of moving, and you find out that they're moving over to Brooklyn because they're having their first grandchild. They live down in the Guild. They can buy a house for $400,000 cheaper, and they're 45 minutes closer to their cottage. So they're retired anyways. That's their story, yes or no? That's what you need to find out. Unfortunately, they're going to be very uncomfortable to tell you, but you still need it. And so I'm going to show you in the next class how to speak to their brain and tell their brain to tell them, it's a safe zone, tell this person everything. You see, in human nature, everyone is defending from no one who is attacking on a psychological level. I know on the planet some people are attacking each other. I'm talking about on a psychological level, right? So it's like you go to a party where people don't know each other. For the first couple hours, everybody's pretty guarded, yes? Yes? Or the walls are up. And then they break down, everybody kind of gets into the party. And so, and then guys just hope the guitar guy doesn't show up. Guitar guy's the worst guy, isn't he? He's totally the worst guy. And you go to this party, when you're single, it's like 11 o'clock, and you're starting to talk, all the guys start talking to particular girls, and then guitar guy comes out and starts singing Neil Young. Who invited guitar guy? You gotta be kidding me. That's like the worst guy ever. Side issue. And so I'm gonna show you how to trigger something in their brain that says this. So they call you off a sign, and they say, we're thinking of moving. See, if you say to them, oh, where are you planning on moving to? That's too direct. They will say this, no. I just want to know the price. I just want to know the price. I can't talk right now. I got to speak to my husband. I got to speak to my wife. Start moving away from you because you asked incorrectly to people that are guarded. You understand? So I'm going to show you how to ask where they want to go, when they want to be there, and why they're going there in certain words that tell their subconscious mind it's a safe zone. Tell them everything. It's called leading in psychology. Leading them to open up to you. Every lead you get, Reza, pre-qualifying is finding out where they're going, when they want to be there, and why they're going there. What's going on with these people? That's pre-qualifying. Now you know about your lead. You understand that? Once they open up to you and tell you everything, then you collect the data that up to now you might be thinking is pre-qualifying. You guys clear on this? And so I'll show you how to get all those people who don't know you to do that. That's next class, actually. A really cool psychology skill. Any last questions? You guys are awesome. Have an amazing day. Have a great Christmas. I'll see you guys in January.